Today we're talking about the Sigma 150-600mm f5-6.3 DGDN. But first, if you're new to the channel, my name is Anson, and on this channel we talk about filmmaking, specifically budget gear, tutorials, and a look at the projects that I'm working on. So if that's something you're into, consider subscribing. Over the past couple weeks, I've been shooting with the 150-600mm f5-6.3, and I'll be honest, it's kind of unlocked a whole nother part of my life I didn't know I needed, which was just bird watching and honestly watching squirrels because they're adorable and fascinating. So that's what I did with testing out this lens. Now, as always, we are going to break down this lens, but before we do, I do want to mention and give the clarification that Sigma did send me this lens to test, but as always, they're not requiring I say anything specifically, and so you can get my full and honest opinion. So breaking down this lens, as always, we're going to talk about this lens by image quality, build quality, my overall thoughts / who I think will be useful for, and let's start with image quality. At 600mm, you're going to have a really sharp image. I was able to get some detail that I would never be able to get with any other lens, which is one reason I really liked this lens, because I was able to get just some amazing detail of like squirrels eating nuts, which is just, again, fascinating. The other thing that I really appreciate about this like ultra telephoto lens is the overall compression you get, which adds some subject isolation. Now, another thing I really enjoy about the performance of this lens is the freaking minimum focusing distance. At the wider end of this lens, you get some amazing minimum focusing distance, like damn near macro level performance, because of the fact that at 150mm, you can get virtually right up close onto your subject. Adds for some really nice intrigue when you go to get some more detailed shots. Now, something else to mention as far as image performance is the stabilization. I handheld this entire shoot. Everything I did was handheld. Now, there were a couple times where I was able to find objects to kind of rest against, maybe a retaining wall or a bench or something like that to rest against, but all of this is for the most part handheld, and so the sheer fact that I'm able to get stable footage at 600mm is a testament to how good the optical stabilization is with this lens. I would absolutely say the image quality of this lens is amazing and a really good performing lens. So with that, let's go over and talk about build quality. Let's go ahead and address the elephant in the room, and that is the fact that really this is probably the size of an elephant. Like, it's a giant lens. Like, if an elephant were a lens, this would be that. Now, I will say weight to size ratio, I did feel like is a little bit lighter than a lot of bigger lenses. I would say it's probably on par with like a bigger zoom cinema lens, and so I wasn't completely breaking my back in using this lens. Now, there are a ton of switches and buttons on this lens. There's a focus hold button, there's an optical stabilization switch. Just like normal, there is an autofocus and manual focus switch, and there's also a focus limiter switch, which does control the range of the focusing point, which is really helpful because this thing actually has a giant focus throw, and so if you're trying to go from minimum focusing to infinity, you're gonna be turning for quite a bit, or autofocus is going to be hunting quite a bit, and so it does have the focus limiter, which is a really nice feature. There is a locking switch, so there's no slippage when it goes into storage, or maybe if you're carrying it around, there's no lens slippage, but that switch also does control the speed of the zooming. You have an indicator of T and S, and S is a sport mode so that you can zoom fast, and the T is just a little bit more normal. So again, if you are doing sport videography, you may put in S, that way your zooming is a little bit faster than the other option that's available. The filter thread on this is 95mm, and so if you are using filters, you're going to have to look into bigger filters. I will say I did use a couple of step down rings to 82mm, and there was no vignetting throughout the focal range, and so if you're like me and you have 82mm filters, you should be able to use it with a couple of step down rings. It does also come with a pretty sizable lens hood and a tripod foot that is adjustable if you want to move it around. So overall, this lens is built really well, just a beefy lens. And so with that being said, let's go into my overall thoughts and who I might recommend this for. We've all kind of gotten accustomed to the fact that Sigma offers amazing optics, amazing performance at a lower cost than their competitors, and this is another lens that caters to that. It offers so much performance and such amazing features for only $1,400, and I realize I'm saying only $1,400, but again, look at the competition. And so if you are somebody that is an event videographer, wildlife videographer, videographer or photographer, if you're into stuff like astrophotography or videography, maybe you're shooting the moon or things like that, this is one that I would 1000% check out. You do want to keep in mind there is the variable aperture aspect of it, and if you're okay with dealing with that and want to save some money, I would absolutely check out the Sigma 150 to 600mm f5 to f6.3 DGDN. And so that's it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy the video, make sure to give it a like, and if you're digging the overall content from the channel, consider subscribing. I just snotted everywhere. And as always, thank you all for joining. Go and find your journey. Go embrace life. Stay safe. Be happy. Support each other. Wash those hands, and I'll see you here next time. Peace.